it's all been about me. Well, now we're going to turn the tables, my friend. It's
Okay.
going to be about you and your story.
In my eyes, being such a young kid, I remember when I was like literally standing with my hands like that, you're not gonna touch my mom. And then he would never beat her when I would do that because I was his boy, his only son. I always was like a shield for my mom.
Yeah.
Then I was always there to protect her. My ex-wife, she almost died when she was delivering Gabriel, our son. And I remember that broke me. Just doing some stupid speed limit. I think it was like 50. I was doing like 120, something like that through the city. Like I think in my head I was trying to kill myself.
Yeah.
But that was in my head. Police guys, sometimes they would stand on the side and just check your speed. That's what they kind of do in Poland at the time. The guy just come to me and I was crying like a baby. I remember just getting my window down and I'm crying. He looks at me and he's like, why are you crying? And I'm like, yeah, just been told my wife could not survive the night. And he's like, oh, right now, you stay in that car, you drive within the limit, don't do anything stupid, we're not gonna give you any ticket, we're not gonna take your license, you just go. Went home, gone to sleep, forget about all the situation. I never told anyone I did that. Welcome everyone to GCS. My name is Grzegorz and I will be interviewing here people from martial arts industry. I will be showing you their life story and explaining why martial arts is amazing thing that you can cope with any mental health issues that you come across. And let's start. Hello after break, Patrick.
Hello.
That was hell of a story we just had here. I mean, those things you said. Yeah, I mean, I always, when I come across and then we meet up and we talk and we know each other for a while, it's always something different coming up from those stories, and they amazing. Like, I mean, your mission is amazing, what you do is amazing, and I'm so excited to see where you're going right now with the whole thing. Well, thanks for sharing all that. I mean, what you just did here is going to help a lot of people.
You're welcome. Right. It's all been about me. Well, now we're going to turn the tables, my friend. It's going to be about you and your story.
Okay, you want to know my story?
I
Okay.
want to know your story.
It's not. What do you want to know then?
I just want to know your life, your past, your history, where you originated from, and the fact that I've only known you 10 years, and it's as if I've known you a lifetime.
Okay. I never done it before, especially on this channel. Like, that would be the first time someone is asking me about my story. Usually I'm on the other way of receiving it, but
that's why I'm doing it. Because I expect there's a lot of people out there want to know how and why and when.
Okay. What you want me to start from the whole beginning?
Yeah.
Okay. Then I was born in Poland, in a town called Suwałki. You can find it on a weather map, believe me or not. If you're gonna go on a weather map, it's gonna be like in the northeast corner of Poland. It is the coldest region in Poland. Then winters get there to minus 30, minus 35, minus 20 every year. Quite cold, very dry climate as well. Totally different than here in UK. Then you will use a lot of moisturizer for your skin because it will dry out a lot. But anyway, then I was born there. I was the last child. I got 3 sisters.
Right.
That was the youngest. The most spoiled, apparently. That's what I'm being told. And yeah, I mean, my mom had me when she was like 30, in her 30s, really. And she reminds me till these days that was like the toughest pregnancy for her. And that she gained the biggest amount of weight after it and all those funny things. Like, she kind of blames me for it. Well, what is quite funny to hear after all those years, but, you know, she's an amazing woman. I mean, I remember my childhood growing up, like, in lots of love around the family. I remember my mom always being there for me, with me, even if she worked. Both parents work full-time in different jobs. I remember my mom always being there. I remember my sisters being there as well. that if my mom will go to work, I remember my sister's taking care of me.
Yeah.
And to be fair, it was a really good growing up. And I've been around family, what is the 3 sisters and a parent growing up for most of my young life. I didn't go to I think I went to nursery for a while, but what happened there, I had a lady being in charge of that nursery, and she was from Catholic Church. I want to say she was attached to a Catholic Church in one way or another, but what she was doing, she was actually apparently beating up the kids. I'm talking here about, I think about 5 then, or 4.
Yeah.
And I remember this lady actually shouting at me and slapping my hands for something I just did as a young boy, what you would think young boys do, kind of. Right. And I remember my parents just taking me out from that nursery because they just didn't like the fact how I was treated. And then I just stayed home, and I remember just being dropped to my grandparents, my mom's parents.
Yeah.
And I got some memories from that. And I remember going to a preschool from age of 6.
Yeah.
And that's where you start back in Poland, from age of 6. That would be a preschool. And until then, the life was just lots of love from mom. I remember dad giving me lots of love as well. Those winters we always had lots of snow that we will go. That's how I love winter. There's not much winter here in UK, but I do love winter. That when I see snow, I always want to get and do the snowman and slide, and even with my son currently, or with my kids back in Poland, I do like to enjoy snow with them if I come across snow in winter, even till these days. And those are the great memories. And then pretty much, I remember my dad getting the new job, and he went to forces, not to military, to police. I remember everything changed from that moment.
Yeah.
And
for the better or for the worse?
For the better in a financial way.
Yeah.
Because my parents didn't need to worry about money at that point. I mean, they did worry, but it was just easier.
Yeah.
Then they had more money. He was earning more money. But for the family, I think that was a bit of a disaster, to be honest with you. And I don't remember even what age I was. I think it's about 6. I was maybe 5. But I remember getting slapped by my father because I was defending my mom from getting beaten up. And he would never raise a hand on her until he would get drunk. And the job he was working, I don't know how it was in UK at that time, but in Poland in 80s, 90s, if you work in police, if you work in forces, you needed to drink.
Oh, right.
That was like a thing when you will just meet up with your
pals,
your peers, let's call them, and then to work your way up, you needed to work your way up through drinking. Drinking was like eating food, pretty much.
Oh, right.
That's how scary it was, and that was on a daily basis in forces.
Whoa.
And that's how people develop addictions to alcohol. Then my dad, if he will be working, he will be then most of the days, I wouldn't say every single day, but most of the days he will be having those moments when he will need to drink with someone to get some deal done or to do some things. Obviously, I didn't know that at the time. I know that right now, but that was a thing. And then he will come back home drunk, or he'll be just drove back home because he had his driver with him. And then he will work Monday to Friday. The weekend he will spend time, but I don't know if you ever, probably you may recognize how people feel after alcohol, but the first day is terrible, especially when you drink for a couple of days. And to come back to normal, he will come back to normal maybe Sunday afternoon, but that will be already end of his day off. Then he will need to then come back to Monday to do the same thing. I'm not saying he will start drinking from Monday again, because never felt he had an addiction to alcohol. It just always felt he drink because he must drink to progress within his career. That's how he felt. I know
very repetitious.
Yes. But for us kids, that felt like our dad got a problem. He comes back from work, he's drunk, he's lying, he's sleeping, he's trying to beat up mom.
Did you realize that at the time, though, it was a problem? Or did you just
know what?
That was part of life?
it just become part of life.
Yeah.
It become a norm. In my eyes, being such a young kid, I remember when I was like literally standing with my hands like that, you're not gonna touch my mom. And then he would never beat her when I would do that because I was his boy, his only son. I remember he's telling me a story how he was celebrating me, and he will celebrate, I think, for 3 days with the family that he got a son because he was looking for that son. You know, he had 3 daughters, and he loved them as well. Don't take me wrong, but he was always looking for the son, and he will tell that to everyone till these days. Then when I would do that, he would never touch my mom. Then I always was like a shield for my mom.
Yeah.
Then I was always there to protect her. I remember when I was young. And the one time he slapped me is that because I got in the way. That he was trying to slap her, but I got in the way. He slapped me. He almost knocked me out, I remember. But then as soon as he did that, I remember he just realized I was wrong. And then he just would apologize. And even if he was drunk, he would just like stop and he would just go back to sleep pretty much.
They call it in this country a light bulb moment.
Probably, yeah. And and you know, and from that moment I don't remember, like age of 7 to probably 13, 7 to 12, let's say. I don't remember those good moments. I remember good moments, but they were mixed with the bad moments all the time. I remember my sisters getting as well, you know, physically abused. We never been sexually abused. No, that never happened at my home. But just physically abused if they would get in the way of protecting the mom. And it was quite tough, yeah, and it became norm. What that created for me as a child, what I understand right now, I was a very quiet child at school.
Yeah.
I'll be very quiet child. Then my mom always was trying to get me things like she will always, I'll be the fat little boy. The reason is that because I always get a lot of sugar, and my mom always will give me a lot of like sweets and sugar, and I remember that would get me to overweight, and I was like this little fatty boy. And then
Billy Bunter.
yeah. But what I did as well, I was affected by bullies quite significantly because I was quiet.
Yeah.
And it was very difficult for me to create a connection. That I wasn't bullying other kids, but I was bullied by other kids because I was quiet, and that was a thing for bullies to initiate. And you know, I know a lot about bullying right now, but at that time for me that was like whatever, yeah. I remember I think getting to the age of 12 when I decided to stop the bully, and I responded. I responded physically, then I was bullied, getting kicked, pushed, whatever, just getting laughed at. And one of the guys gone physical with me, you know, there's kids, but like I'm a fighter right now because of those reasons as well. But for me, physical right now, I understand how to hurt, even kill someone with the fists. At that time, kids, you know, it's just kids, but he tried to like punch me, push me, whatever. And I remember I just had this emotional moment. I released the anger, and I remember slap him. I almost knocked him out with one slap. Yeah. That's because he was quite skinny. I was quite fatter, bigger than him. And he never ever bullied me I think he tried twice more, but then I was older and different story. But at that point, he never bullied me at that point when I was 12. And for me, that was a significant moment when I realized, I can hurt people.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that then went spiral and it changed a lot.
Did you hurt a lot of people?
From that point, yes. And I enjoy it. And that wasn't good. I went through puberty from age of 13. Then, 12 to 13, there's that summer.
Yeah.
2 months off from school, July, June. I grow about 30 centimeters, what is a lot. I remember pains in my bones, pains in my stomach, just lots of pain for 2 months. And then I went through like 148 to 180 centimeters, what is like 5.6 to 6.1 or something like that. Yeah, it's just a lot of grow within that short period of time. Then I was being taken to a lot of like doctors, and my parents just took me to hospital because they thought that's not normal. Because it's just, and the doctors were saying to them, it's normal, that's just genetics, DNA, all that stuff. They did a lot of, they gave me I remember some medication for the pain, and the pain gone away. But I remember just being in pain. And the funniest thing is, I was a fatty boy, and then I become a tall, skinny boy with literally nothing there. The fatness was almost gone.
No, basically what happened was is you was in bed one night and they rolled the fat out.
Whatever happened.
Like you do with pastry. Start off with a big lump, roll it out, and it gets bigger and bigger.
Then, but before that, I remember meeting my first girlfriend at the age of 7, having my first kiss and all that stuff. And this is when that started happening to me as well. Then from age of 7, I had my first kiss, and I started having those girlfriends. And then when the whole bully thing happened at the age of 12, then I pubered, age of 13, I become tall. I kind of had those two things happening in my life.
Yeah.
Violence and girls. I don't know why the girls appeared there, to be honest with you.
They like strong boys.
I wasn't strong. I was a skinny, tall dude.
Yeah, but they didn't see it that way, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, I become violent, yeah. Then I remember we had this, you would call it a secondary school here.
Yeah.
In Poland, they changed our education system. They call it a gymnasium. There was a 3 years of going to, let's say, a secondary school. It's called gymnasium. Basically, was something between your high school and your primary school.
Right.
What didn't make any sense, to be fair. Right now, at this moment in time, my kids are going through the whole one school from age of 7 to age of 15. At my times, I will go 7, 12, and then 13, 15. What didn't make any sense, really.
That's what we had.
Yeah.
When I was a kid.
Yeah, and then I think they were trying to get this puberty thing out of the way, but that just went sideways, to be fair, because we were doing some crazy shit at that age. More crazy than the kids are doing when they're going through the whole cycle, right. 7 till 15. What I mean by that, crazy stuff. Then I lived in a street when you had those like big flats, and we just had little, we call them gangs, yeah, but basically a group of kids that was initiated with the local drug dealers.
Yeah. And
the local drug dealers, what I mean, they were selling some weed there locally. What is, you wouldn't say it's that bad, but at the time, especially my father being in police forces, I was just hated by those kids, by the way. But I was still with them because I was going against my dad being working in police. But what the stupid things we were doing is we will be around those group of kids, and then we have the other group of kids being from different part of the town, because my town was about 20 to 4,000 people at the time. There's a little town. And we will be in this one gymnasium school where we had this age 13 to 15, and we will then have those kids that were 15, 14, 13, they all had the little groups, your little gangs, whatever you want to call it. And we will have like a gang wars, didn't we? And as ridiculous as that sound, we will have...
It's still like that now. All over the world.
Yeah, probably. But the funniest thing there was that you have those breaks during school. And we will go to those 10 minutes breaks, and then you have the long break, and the long break was about, I think, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
We will meet up on a long break in a bushes next to the school to fight class against class, yeah? That would be like 10 blokes here, 10 blokes here. We would just fight. As ridiculous as that would look, that would be a fight.
And you used to love it, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I met some people there, and I remember that was... I skipped the school a lot at that age of 13 as well. Like a lot of school. I will go to school. My parents would think I'm in the school. I've never been in school. My father realized, because they had these school meetings every 6 months, whatever.
Yeah.
And he would have the 6 months summary of my scores and stuff, and they wouldn't be the best. I would be so bad at school at that point.
Down there.
Like even lower. Yeah, I would be in danger not to pass into the next class if I wouldn't get my shit sorted in the next 6 months. I remember he beat me up so much. And I would get beaten up by him at that point every so often for either scores or when he would realize I'm lying to him, and I was lying. I become like a perfect liar at that point. I learned how to lie to my dad, not to get beaten up, or how to... Because I wasn't allowed to go with my friends. That was another thing he was doing to me. He was just not allowing me to go with my friends. He would be like, you stay at home, you learn, you do your scores, do. That wouldn't work. I would find a way. We had dogs, yeah? That I would just grab a dog for a walk, and I wouldn't be at home for 4 hours, yeah? And they would be, oh, that was a long walk. Oh, yeah, we walked. I would just make up every story just to tell them that I was... But that would be meeting up with mates. I will each, my dogs would probably hate me for that because I will grab sometimes food for them to feed them. But in some stage, dogs knew that when they're going with me, we're going for a long walk. And I would be going with them just around places, whatever we would do when I could go with the dog. And I was doing the same with the girlfriends. I would meet up with the girlfriends with the dog to their houses or whatever for walks. And my parents wouldn't even know. They would think I went for a walk with the dog. But the funny thing, my sisters was doing the same. My younger sister, I know she was doing exactly the same tactic. I don't think maybe my middle sister as well. I think she was as well.
I wonder who taught them that.
I don't know. Yeah. The oldest sister, I think she was doing, all of us were doing the same tactic with the dog. Yeah. And it's a funny thing because, I don't know, maybe parents knew, but they kind of allow us to do it.
Well, they didn't have to do it if you done it.
The
dog still got to go out for a walk, I know.
Yeah, but like...
So what happened when you left school then?
Before I left school, I got really beaten up, really bullied. Then when I had bullied at the age of 12, then I've been bullied for a week by a group of guys a bit older than me, like 2 years older. One of the guys, that was initiated by one of the guy. I was basically with a girl for like 6 months, and she was like my first love. I was really in love with her. And I remember I left her. I stopped that dating relationship, whatever you want to call it, just because of my mates. My mates didn't like her.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And I just stopped it. And that was like the most ridiculous things you can do, but being a child. But then the consequence of that was the other guy liked her, and he knew we were together. We split. And then he initiated the whole bullying thing. That wasn't bullying. That was pretty much getting beaten up for a week every day. He crushed like 2 of my tooths here. That's how much I got beaten up by him and his... That basically I would go to school, and the funniest thing, I wouldn't tell anyone. I would just go to school, and we had these hallways, and they would have those dark moments in the hallways where the light wasn't there. They would just wait for me there, grab me, and just kick the shit out of me, beat me up, kick me on the floor, whatever. And it just become norm for a week. And I wouldn't tell anyone. I wouldn't tell my teachers. I wouldn't tell my parents. My father, because I was covering myself, wasn't that beaten up. But my father would tell me one day, like, well, what's that bruises here? And I'll be like, just like, we had this like physical lessons.
All over.
I just lie something here. And then he will just leave it. Yeah, he didn't want to because previously when somebody stole my hat, he will investigate that, and he will go to the school and he will do a whole thing. I'm a policeman. This is my son. You're not touching my son. I'm gonna whatever. He will do all. But he never did that situation because I never told him, and I was hiding it quite well. But
do you think you done that for self-preservation now?
I think it was just shame. It just felt a lot of shame there. I just didn't want people to know. And I didn't know what to do with it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Right now I know that was because I was doing all those fights and fighting with all those guys that kind of wanted to fight, but I was hurting them, yeah? And obviously I heard that
Well, you had a target on your back.
I did, yes.
Don't mess with him. He's bigger than you.
Yeah. And until the bigger guy find out,
Right.
I think so. I wouldn't say I was bullying those guys I was fighting with, but I was just making a points to those guys. That was like a bully. That's what I was doing.
Yeah.
And then just found a bigger bully that bullied me. And what saved me was my, I would call him a cousin. Carol is his name. But he was basically with my uncle that he split with my auntie, but then uncle found another woman, and he was the woman's son.
Yeah.
I'm going to call him a cousin, even if he wasn't really related to me that much, but he was an amazing guy. He was in the same age, 15, when I was 13, and he actually saved me. He went to those guys, apparently beat up all 4 of them. And then he got me in a break, because he would approach me. He would be like, what's going on? Somebody would tell him or whatever. And I was like, yeah, those guys are beating me up. And he's like, okay, leave it with me. And then he will go and beat them up. I wouldn't even know that he beat them up, but people would tell me later on. And then he grabbed me on one of the long breaks, go to them, and they all shake my hands and apologize. Never got bullied again in my life. But at that point, my middle sister, boyfriend at the time, husband right now, Mariusz, he actually noticed that something I think was wrong with me. And he showed me just basics of, okay, this is how you exercise. Because he was into martial arts. He was doing a full contact karate. And he was pretty fit. dude. Yeah, he was one of my role models. Unfortunately, my dad wasn't my role model at that time, and I was looking for different role models, and he was one of the role models that showed me, okay, this is how man's supposed to be. And then he showed me those things, and I remember just going through, I think, first year of trying to eat more. I was eating everything. I remember I was eating 7 times a day, 4 hot meals, 3 like. Yeah, I was eating a lot because I was, if you're going to think about it, I was 180 centimeters. That's about 6 inch. But that was like 63 kilos. I was literally like that.
Yeah.
Within a year time, I got myself up to 75 kilos, just eating a lot. Just eating like, like the old school rice and chicken, like a lot of protein, a lot of food, a lot of veggies. I was just eating a lot. And then I was doing what he told me to do, some like basic exercise, some press-ups, some sit-ups, some squats. Then I got some weights into it. He showed me like how to do exercise. And that was all old school, old school. I don't remember taking any supplements at the time, but within a year time, I remember I got myself up. And when that happened, and I was at the end of that gymnasium, I remember going to 80 kilos, I think. And at that point, I still wasn't bullying anyone, but I was bullying the bullies. And I bullied the bullies that bully me, those big dudes. I found them one by one, and I remember, having those moments. But the main thing there is that this is when I realized that even if I was still skinny, I realized, okay, I'm never going to let anyone to bully me. And that never happened from that point. I had some moments when I was like fighting, but I never been bullied again.
Yeah, that's good.
Welcome everyone. Today we're going to talk about Patreon on GCS channel. It's 3 tiers. Tier 1 is called Mental Health Ally for £3 a month, where you're going to have all early access to all episodes. You're going to get a personal thank you post on Patreon, and your name will be mentioned in the post credits of each episode. Tier 2, called Inner Circle, for £7 a month. You have all previous perks, and mini videos around coaching, and extras from the clips and behind the scenes after each episode. Tier 3, called Life Warrior, for £15 a month, where you're going to have all the previous perks from the other 2 tiers. You're going to have opportunity to ask a question to each and every guest coming to GCS, and where you have the opportunity to have a personal life coaching Zoom call with myself to discuss any mental health issues you come across or any coaching solutions I can present to you.
Right, my friend, where we left off.
Yeah, then like I was saying, this is the moment when I realized I never gonna be bullied again when I went to this certain weight limit, you can say. And I think for me, the age of 15, that's when I started changing the games around how I would think as a boy.
Yeah.
Because I was still a boy. I mean, I thought I wasn't, to be fair, but I obviously was. And I think this is when it raised a lot of problems for me that moment, because my ego went through the roof. I was super confident. That wasn't a good thing. I mean, at the time it felt like a good thing, but it wasn't a good thing, what I realized later on. And yeah, I think just from that point, I was just trying to get out from home as well, because the home environment was like pretty much, again, me just trying to stand up for my mom with my dad, having those moments when, they will go physical. And my sisters pretty much get out from home very quickly as well. They didn't stay long home. As soon as they could, what is usually age of 18, they would just go away as well. Then it was a nice home environment, even if we tried to keep it. But like I said, my dad's job wasn't allowing that to happen. And it caused a lot of pain, I would say, for us as a kids. And then, like I said, because my sister went in some stage, I was just by myself, and I was trying to deal with all that by myself, and I was trying to do the school, obviously get the better scores after this big beaten up when I was 13. And to be fair, I never did well at school in that level, and really, I didn't even know at the time, but I know for the fact right now I got ADHD, and I know that's what caused me not being well at school, because I just couldn't focus.
Yeah.
I was trying. I remember parents getting me to like some extra time after school with some teachers or tutors, you're going to call them,
Yeah.
and that wouldn't help at all. But the thing is, I was clever. I could do the maths. I could do anything else. I could learn, but it was just hard to focus. That was the thing, and that's the ADD, ADHD kind of syndrome. What I didn't realize at the time, I did have the superpower. What comes with it, what is the hyper focus,
Yeah.
and I didn't know how to use it at the time. I learned it just in my 20s when I went for study. But I was very similar to my sisters. At the age of 18, I decided where I want to go to which uni, and I just went and started living in a student house. Again, like I said, I had quite a few girlfriends on the way, but this is when I met my ex-wife,
Right.
and we fall in love, and I felt really good with that. She felt really good with that, and we met each other in that student accommodation houses, just on the campus, really.
Yeah.
Because we were just, I think she just come to one of the parties I did. Then I become a party boy. Then from whatever was happening at home, then I went there and I started studying. And to be fair, those tutors there, comparing to the high school, were doing really well. I had the best scores from maths I ever had in my life was during the studies, just because of the tutors I had. They were so much better. I don't think they understood if I had a problem or not, but the way they were sharing the knowledge was so much better, and it felt good. But in some stage, we would be doing those parties, and that wouldn't be only me. That would be our group of people, whatever we've been there. We'd be doing those parties, and yeah, my ex-wife just appeared there, and we fall in love. Obviously, we date with each other, and we get to know each other. But that was a really nice feeling, and I remember in some stage, we just decided to move in together in the student house that we just lived in a one room at that point. Then I decided to introduce her to my parents, and it was quite funny though, because neither her parents, her mom, because her dad wasn't there, he died when he had a cancer when she was younger, but either her parents, her mom, or my parents weren't really happy about this relationship. At the time, I was like, I'm not interested in what you're saying to me, because I was pretty much like, I know that's the girl, you know. And then we kind of dated for a couple of years, and then we decided to get married. And then when we decided to get married, we decided to get pregnant. And this is when my son Gabriel was in a way, and then we got married when he was in a way. But nobody's seen it because I was just beginning of the pregnancy. Then she didn't have a big belly yet. But I remember this is the moment when, for me, all this violent life kind of disappear, and I just settled down, yeah. And I was just 21, and for me, settling down at that age, right now, it feels different. And I'm 37 right now.
How young are you now?
37. Yeah. And what I'm trying to say, at that point, I think I know I was trying to prove to the world how grow up man I am when I was just a young boy, still kid, and learning life and all that. And you know, and I remember we had up and downs. Like my ex-wife, she almost died when she was delivering Gabriel, our son, and I remember that broke me. One thing I remember from there, I was driving like crazy from the hospital when they told me that she may die overnight.
Yeah. And
I was just doing some stupid speed limit. I think it was like 50. I was doing like 120, something like that through the city. Like I think in my head I was trying to kill myself.
Yeah.
But that was in my head. I didn't attempt to like turn and do, but in my head that was going from my head like, okay. And that was very selfish as well. But I didn't know what to do with that situation. I a situation when I would be with my son that was born, and I was there with my mom. Bless her,
Yeah.
she was helping me as much as she could, even if I was awkward at the time because I didn't know how to
Yeah.
cope with those emotions. And I remember driving, and actually police guys, sometimes they will stand on the side and just check your speed. That's
Yeah.
what they kind of do in Poland at the time. And they still do it, to be fair. But they just stopped me and they were like, and if they wouldn't stop me, I don't know what happened, but they stopped me. Yeah? And I just like slowed down with the brakes because I was going way too quick. I'll probably lose my license at that point. But then the guy just come to me and I was crying like a baby. I remember just getting my window down and I'm crying. He looks at me and he's like, "Why are you crying?"
So you
And
told
I'm
him.
like, "Yeah, just been told my wife could not survive the night." And he's like, "Oh." And he just went to his, because it's usually two of them.
Yeah.
He just went to his guy, come back, and he's like, "Okay, where do you live?" So I just live there. He's like, that was like 2 minutes away. He's like, "Okay, listen, right now you stay in that car, you drive within the limit for the next 2 minutes to get home safe."
Yeah.
Because I told him that, you know, my son is there with my mom, because your child is waiting for you, your newborn child. That just go
Yeah.
and don't do anything stupid. We're not gonna give you any ticket. We're not gonna take your license. You just go. And fair play to them. I just drove back, went home, gone to sleep, forget about all the situation. I never told anyone I did that. I told my ex-wife after a while, my parents after 10 years later. But what I'm saying, like, yeah, that just stayed with me. Only my ex-wife knew about it. My kids know as well these days.
Very quickly,
Yes.
my first daughter was born 6 weeks premature.
Okay.
My wife went to the doctors and she never come in. And the doctor never found us. So we didn't know where she was.
Oh.
And then we found out that she was in Southmead Hospital. When my daughter was born, she weighed 2 pounds 2 ounces.
Whoa.
And she lived in an incubator for 4 months.
Okay.
Seen her now, you wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, it's interesting the way it goes.
Similar type of story.
Yeah.
We nearly lost her and the wife.
Yeah.
She had toxemia.
Yeah.
She's blood cancer.
Yeah. With my ex-wife she had, you know, no appendix, but the other organ. I forgot the name when it gives you the acid to your stomach to process the food. Forgot the name of that organ. Anyway,
Pancreas.
potentially it's on this side.
Yeah.
But anyway, there is a channel that goes from stomach to that organ, and
Yeah.
she had it blocked, that channel, and they were trying to with antibiotics to like clear it out,
Yeah.
the tunnels, and they couldn't. And that was, if she would have an operation, that is like a 50% chance of surviving that operation.
Yeah.
And hopefully through that night it cleared. Then when I come back next day, she was okay and she was back, and I was really happy. But I almost lost her on that point. But you know what I remember as well, from that point I really appreciated the fact that obviously she's there, I got the son, and then I need to crack on with what I need to do. Then I start just, you know, all this like being single, high ego, aggressive, like that's all was gone. Like, and I remember I just was working my ass off to provide for the family because she didn't work. She was at home and she was doing an amazing job at it. It was hard for her as well. And then some stage I remember we had our daughter.
Yeah.
And she wasn't planned. and she was born 2 years later, because it's 2 years between like a year and a half, you can say, but between my kids. And she was born with, you can call it like a disability, but it wasn't a disability really. She was just born looking like a banana. Basically, she was like...
Jaundice.
I don't know how they call it, but she had like a tension in her muscles that was causing her to be like aligned in one way. Then she wasn't like straight; she was like going sideways. Yeah, I remember we needed to do a lot of like exercises with her, and this is what my ex-wife was doing to get her straight to. And to be fair, after 3 months of doing those exercises, she just was absolutely normal. But then she had this like a look like the child was like bended in a way. We call it like a banana effect or whatever. And then we just carry on with life, you know. What I didn't realize at the time, we were so young that we really didn't know.
Kids with kids.
Yeah, and to be fair, we were doing quite all right with my ex-wife. We were, honest with each other. We were saying things. We didn't do any funny business with each other. We were trying our best, I think, to what we could.
Yeah.
And we just was trying to do what we got. I was working, hard. She was at home taking care of kids. In some stage, I remember we needed to move to either of the families when the things were up and down. And then I remember that was the first time I think I had a mental health problem I didn't even know I had, when I was just giving up, not on life, but in general on like doing what I need to do. I think like this, taking it all, I'm going to be providing for the man, working as hard as I can. All that was cool, but in some stage it just broke me. And I remember sitting by the computer, playing some games and not knowing what I need to do with my life, and I met some people there in those games, and those people actually got me to come to UK.
Right.
And I remember those people,
Interesting.
very interesting, yeah, because those guys were actually living here in UK, all the Polish people, and they actually was like, yeah, I mean, because we kind of were sharing things with each other, as much as you can share online, if you know what I mean. But we knew we are real. We at that point we knew we are real. We're not like some bots or some, I don't know, random AI. AI wasn't a thing at the time, but anyway, what I'm trying to say, we kind of knew we are real, and we were sharing things. And some stage they said to me, "Hey, come along to us to UK. You can pretty much start your new life." And at that point, I knew my best friend was already in UK for a couple of years, and I knew he was doing quite well.
Yeah.
Then in my head it was like, okay, maybe that's not a bad thing. All that was happening to me from like, 2008 was this crack on American market, the housing market. This is when I was trying to find the jobs and job between jobs. That was my young adult life. And I was like, I cannot find a job. What's going on here? And I was finding some jobs, but it was so hard. And at the time I didn't know, but then that thing happened, and I know right now why it was so hard. Because America was going through depression and all that, and was really bad at 2008 and onwards. That's when I was like trying to pursue everything in my, studies. I remember working, it was crazy. And yeah, I'm pretty much decided to come to UK. Had some fun moments there. Before I came in, I had some bachelor's party with some, one of my dudes from the city we lived. He was like a security guy, doorman, bouncer you would call them, yeah. And we just gathered up and we went for his bachelor's party. I remember we got beaten up by local football supporter guys. It was one of the scariest moments when I was thinking, I may die here today. The reason you think like that is because it was so many guys running at us. Then it was I think about 10 of us, and I remember standing by the wall. And in some stage, one of our guys was fighting a bouncer, the football supporter guys, but we didn't know at that point they are football supporters. We kind of realized, but we didn't knew. But then some stage was a lot of them gathering out, and we just thought that's just people watching. They all know each other. and then that initiated from that one fight to then our guy, I would say he almost beat up the other guy. And then this is when it kicked off. And then we were just standing, and I got the wall behind me, and I can see 4 guys running at me. And every single one of us had similar scenario. And you think like, okay, then I could bounce one guy, but the other 3 just start kicking me. Then you just like got the kicks and you run away. But at that point you think like, am I gonna survive this one? And trust me, I wasn't even close to fit at that point, because like I said, settled down. I wasn't even exercising and stuff. But that was like one of the moments I remember when it comes to violence, and that got me thinking as well. And I felt bad about myself because I wasn't fit enough to handle that situation.
Well, I'm sorry to tell you,
yeah,
but a lot of people that are fit wouldn't handle that situation either.
Yeah.
But you weren't supposed to go anywhere. It was just an experience that you had to have.
Yeah,
so
probably.
that you could progress and make your life a better one.
Probably.
Than what you left.
Probably. I know when I come here to UK, I came by myself. I remember selling the car. We had my ex-wife was living at the time with my parents, and then she went to her mom, and I was just by myself here. She come along after I think 3 months. I even got her working in the same factory I was working here. But then she come back, and then we were planning to come along together. But then the 6 months being by myself here, I was literally by myself living in a room. I met some of those people in the factory, but I didn't really care. No, and the only thing I was thinking in my head, okay, how am I going to set up future of my family here, being my ex and the kids? And then I come up with a plan, get enough money, save up, and I was thinking, okay, that's what we're going to do. And I literally wanted to get a house, like I think 2-bedroom house, whatever it was, get them in, and just start the new life here. And then I literally come back to Poland to do that, book the flights. We go into the flights, and we late to the flight, believe me or not. Because of the time zone change, because it was in a different country. And for some reason, I don't know how even that happened. I always knew there is a time zone change, and I knew we needed to go early. And then we went early, but I wasn't early enough. And we come to the airport, and the plane is gone, like. And I'm like, whoa. And at that point, we're in the airport.
Yeah.
And I remember that for me, that was a moment like, and we had some arguments there with my ex-wife about things. And that was like, for me, like I treated that as a sign for some reason. I couldn't understand that sign at that time. But I come back by myself eventually. They stayed. And I remember us having a big argument, I think 2 weeks later. And me just literally giving up on the relationship.
Are they still there?
In Poland, yeah, they live there. But what was really bad, I remember, like, because I told her I want a divorce because we were married, and we did the whole thing with the church, and we got the Catholic Church marriage plus the civil marriage, but I remember I broke her heart. It was just really, really hard for her. I know it was really hard right now, and it was hard for me as well, obviously, but I made that decision, not her. And probably the first 2 years was, I just got lost. And then I met you in my life. And that did change a lot in my life, because I had some like problem with the drug addiction here, and I just couldn't get myself out of it. And I remember when I met you, it all kind of changed for me. I almost died, by the way, in the hospital. I had this near-death experience a few times in my life. But this one in the hospital was actually literally. This is when you talk about science and coincidence and all that stuff. I'm telling to my ex-wife we're gonna divorce. Month and a half later, I'm in the hospital almost dying because I had appendix problem. What is a small problem, you think about it, but I ignore it totally.
Yeah.
Because I was at the time like doing my martial arts, coming back to being fit. I just thought I had just a pain in the muscles. Like literally, that's how it felt for me. Like you will do too many press-ups, you know what I mean? Press-ups or even sit-ups. One of those two exercises, you will do too much. That's similar pain. And I was like, yeah, I'm good. And then some stage I'm sitting at work and I'm like almost falling down from my chair because I was like doing some admin work at the time. Yeah. And then like, oh, are you okay? And you need to go to hospital. And they're like, oh, your appendix blow inside you. We need to operate. Do. And then they said to me next day, you were lucky you survived the night. I was like, oh, okay. But that wake me up to, before I met you, to realize, okay, life is that thin and it may go really bad. And I decided at that point that I will never, ever, ever lie again in my life. And I will never, ever, ever be bad to people. Yeah. That was the moment I decided that. And then I met you, like I said, year later, 2 years later. And I now remember, my life changed a lot. Like I get out from the addiction. I actually managed, that I was 2 years having issues with drug addiction. And I remember from that point when I met you and I gone into spirituality and I went into working on myself in different ways. I did psychedelic journeys. I did shamanic healings. Obviously, I did healings with you. I just tried different things in different angles. I meditated I remember, every day for like a year. I just got committed to it so much. And I remember I decided, okay, I want to help other people. And I was trying to process in my way, okay, how am I going to do it? And from that point, this is me being age of 28, 29. And from that point, I remember I moved into Wales a few years later. I think I was about 31. And I already had a plan that, okay, I'm going to start do a charity coaching for people. I'm gonna start getting people in to talk with them, to get them through whatever the struggles they go through. I'm not gonna charge them a bit. I'm just gonna go through that. And I remember doing that at the beginning alongside my full-time job, and just trying to put two and two together, you know. And it took me, I remember, year, maybe two. And then I met my current fiancée, future wife, and my life changed. I remember when I've seen her like a blessing. She was like the kindest person I could ever meet. She didn't thought about herself like that at the time. And I wasn't interested in looking for anyone, but I had a person working for me, and she wanted to like get us together. And she literally arranged our date, and we just meet up. And I remember like going out and was like, yeah, you're amazing. And then she had a fun experience with me because she met me, and then I disappeared for 2 weeks on holidays with another woman, being my stepsister. That's like a very close person to me, very good friend. And I went with her for like a road trip. And in her head, she thought like, what was that? We had like 3 dates or whatever we had, and then you're going with some other woman. And then I remember, but I kept in touch. Yeah. And then I come back, and she appreciated that. Then we carry on. And, you know, and the life is great from that moment. And what I'm saying with this whole helping people, this is when I start creating the whole coaching business I got right now. This is when I start going to therapies, starting doing those courses with how to coach people, how to do therapies. This is when I decided a few years later, when I wanted to start pursuing the psychology degree in what I'm doing right now with the bachelor's, and I want to pursue PhD. All those things just started going together. Yeah. And then in some stage, that idea appeared, the podcast. And this is when I realized, okay, this is the way I'm going to help
even more people.
Because I'm going to be talking with certain people about certain things and certain struggles, and that's going to send that message. Then, yeah, that's pretty much my story.
Bless you. Bless you. But how do you feel within yourself?
I feel, to be honest with you, that that's where I'm going. That's the way, you know. And I don't care how long it's going to take me.
Are you happy in your own skin now?
Yes. Each person I talk with is like you were saying, you talk with those people, healing them without even healing. Yeah. And I have that with every single person that comes my way, even randomly somewhere on the street. Yeah. I do have this little conversation, and I ignite something in those people without even knowing it.
That's right.
That's how it feels anyway.
The reason being there is on your head you got a light bulb, right? And it's 2-colored light bulb. It's a red light bulb or a green light bulb. And when people are walking up, same as our friend in the corner, right? When people are walking towards you, if your light bulb goes green, they'll start talking to you. Because their guide, their doorkeeper will say, you can talk to that man and he will not judge you. Yeah. And that is the biggest important thing, not to judge. Yeah. So if your light's red, they'll just walk straight past you. If it's green, they'll stop and talk. And they'll tell you their life story.
They do. Every single one of them. I know
they do.
Yes, yeah. And the ones, like you said, I don't talk when I close myself. And that took me up, by the way, years to learn how to shield myself from those people that they just dare to like kind of, not, I wouldn't say only judge you, but they just dare to like use you maybe and just maybe get into you doing, you know, like a funny manipulation with you or whatever. And again, I wouldn't know that if I wouldn't manipulate by myself, but I decided to stop. Yeah. And when I see people doing that, you know, I'm just like, I just kind of help myself. I just don't even go there. But the point I'm trying to say, you can see it straight away from that person exactly. If it's, like you said, the light bulb or the red bulb person, and you can feel it as well straight away.
Well, thank you for sharing your story.
No, thanks for asking. I mean, like I said, you're the first guest doing that to me.
You're welcome.
But there is probably a reason behind it, and
Till we meet again.
Yes, we will. But anyway, coming back to you then what is the next things Patrick wants to do in the next near future? You got some bigger plans, or you just going with it?
No, just go with it. As I said, every morning I wake up and I say, whoever I need to see, let me see them. Because wherever I am, we do what we do.
Okay.
Because even our little friend in the corner, he's had healing all the time you've been sat there. 'Cause that's just what it is.
100%. I agree. Okay, Patrick, then I think this is a nice time to end it.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure to have you. I truly believe right now you're in my story. Here we are. It's going to help other people. I really believe in it. And thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing. It was just amazing time.
Yeah.
I didn't even feel like those last 2-3 hours we spent here.
I didn't even realize it was that long.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Thank you.
No, you're welcome.
If you enjoy watching this episode, please like, subscribe, comment, and share with whoever you know.